Hello, you guys. Welcome to the Divide on WRZ. Wow, it's been a morning already. WRFZ 106.3. You're listening to the Divide with Marcus C. Williams, and we're in the studio with our homie Brian. Brian,
Hey,
say
what's
hello
up,
to the
guys?
people.
Glad to be here with our amazing guest, the one and only retired police chief, Gates Police Chief, Chief Vanbrederode. Jim Vanbrederode, how you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me. This is awesome. It's been good to get back on your show, Brian and Marcus.
Yeah, last time you were on, it was just me. Now we have the dynamic duo right here.
Tag team here, you know? So it's good to be back, really. You got a great show, and we had a lot of fun back in 2022 when I was running to come on your show and talk just openly about all the topics.
Oh, yeah.
And, thank you, Brian. I appreciate it.
So what do you?
Plenty of topics, don't we?
There's never a short. There's never a short on topics. Real quickly though, why don't you let us know what you've been up to the last year or so?
Yeah, so I've been totally retired from the police department, and since that election, I've just been working behind the scenes on some other political stuff and other campaigns, and just staying on top of all the issues, and really, just being an advocate and being a platform for other people to get their messages out. And we'll talk a little bit about a little rally that we did yesterday for a mother, and it's all about me trying to help other people. And to use my knowledge and what I do know of the criminal justice system.
Are you running at all?
No, I am not running. My wife and I are changing directions on what we want to do at this point, and she's retiring shortly, and so we're not going to do any of that.
I hear you. So let me ask you a question. Do you think that the stuff with the criminal justice system and regular law and order, do you think it's gotten better or worse?
Yeah,
So much better, right?
Oh dear God. Yeah, it's funny, right? And
Yeah.
when you beat Chicago and murders,
Right?
and you got the mayor on TV, and God bless the police chief, and they're telling us how great things are. Well, where else were we supposed to go from there?
Right.
Okay?
Well, they ignored 2018 and 19, those numbers.
Wait, you guys, that is not fair. The mayor got on the TV the other day and he said, we are doing a bang up job on murders that are caused by firearms. That's what he said.
Right.
Well,
But all the other crimes, unfortunately,
Yep. Right.
have skyrocketed through the roof, higher than they've ever been in the history of us keeping records.
No, the car thefts are starting to go down now too, because that's because everybody their car's been stolen. Who has a Kia? So there's no more to take.
Well, I heard from a good source, inside local law enforcement, that they did slow down for a while, but now they're picking back up.
Well, they found a new way.
Yeah,
Another
and-
person is sued.
Well, but also you've got that, and you've got the carjackings by gunpoint and
Yeah.
knife point in
Yeah,
the middle of
that's
broad
all.
daylight.
That's more scary.
That's super, and that actually can leave some trauma with the person, especially, I mean, you get a gun put in your face, it's just not, me and Marcus were talking last week about that shooting, I think it was at Franklin, where a guy chased the guy across the
Yeah.
yard, and then
Yes.
those two girls, you
Two
see
girls,
in the still picture, those girls are terrified, guys terrified too, but the girls, it's gonna leave a lasting mark with them forever.
Absolutely, and really, those robberies are more scary because it leaves scars for life.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I thought we were so concerned about things like mental health and people's social, emotional feelings and things like that.
Right.
Do we not care about the victims? Isn't
No.
there? Have
No,
you heard
no, they
them
don't.
talk
You're
about
right.
victims at all? I haven't heard anything from the mayor's office, from the county executive, and this isn't me slamming them or anything for anybody that's listening. This is just a fact. It's as though the victims of crime are not being compensated by the city or by the county when they know that it's because of state laws that this is happening, but they refuse to come out and talk about the policies. And on this
Well,
show, I like to make sure that we focus on the policies that are
Yes.
creating the issues
Yep.
we're experiencing. And so what's your thought on the policies?
Well, real quick, they have a whole different idea though, Marcus, of who the victim is. To them, the victim is actually not the victim, the real victim. To them,
Is the victim the criminal?
Yes, the
Oh, no.
progressive ideology states that the criminal is the victim.
Come on
Yeah,
now, I
it's
hear.
Exactly.
It's
But I
insane.
heard that they care about the working people and those in poverty, and the people that are affected and impacted most by the crime are working families and the people in poverty. And don't they actually care about them? That's what they keep telling me.
What do you
At least
think?
that's what I hear.
They don't. Look at all these policies are just creating more problems in those challenged neighborhoods. You know, this is as Marcus knows, running for Senate, this is the most dangerous time of the year from January till April 1st, May, while they're down there, because when they're all down there in that little nest down there,
Yep.
God save us all. But you know, all the talk out of there is all about, for the suspects, you know what I mean? Elder parole, early time release.
Yes, yeah, they're passing.
There's nothing about victim services.
Never.
It's all about how are we gonna give them a second chance at the bite of the apple, a second chance at life.
Well, it leads me to this article that I told you about. The
Yes.
front page yesterday, or day before, I can't remember. Front page, so this woman, this journalist, quote unquote journalist, has a front page, story that she gets to write. What does she choose to write it on? Blasting the RPD and the local police departments, talking about how these 13 people have been killed by the cops over the last 4 years, completely ignoring the 250 plus people who have died due to violence and street violence over the last 4 years, talking about how it's funny because she says the cops need to, when they're chasing a suspect, they need to learn how to shoot a gun out of someone's hand or
This is the old West days, you
right,
know?
or shoot pepper balls, which is funny because the PAB just
Said
said that they
can't
want
use
pepper
balls.
balls.
They leave marks on certain people's necks.
You know
Yeah,
what?
right.
Did you guys see this morning? So this morning, all of this happened over the weekend. So this morning, the gentleman who was beaten, the 60-year-old
Yeah,
guy
we were
who was
just talking about that,
beaten, okay, and during a robbery over Christmas Eve, this was Christmas
Yeah,
Eve, you know?
yeah.
He was beaten so badly, he was in intensive care this whole time, and just this morning he passed.
He never came out of the coma,
Lord
right?
rest his soul. And then on top of that, cause you know the news, the plot thickens, right?
Yeah.
So this morning they were talking about how yesterday somebody was shot by a stray bullet in their house.
Yeah, we talked about
So
that too before the show.
This is what's going on, what people are experiencing in everyday life, but there's nothing actually being addressed from our elected officials. You know what? And I wanna hear your thoughts on this, Jim, because I called the city. I wanted to know what was going on with that whole, we're going to sue Kia and we're gonna get all this money
Yeah, the
from
money.
Kia. So I called, I said,
Your fault.
my car got broken into, such and such and such and such. Are you gonna help me pay for my deductible, whatever the case is, da da da. And they said, oh no, and I had to go through like 3 or 4 people to find out what was happening with the money, because I was like, I was affected by the impact of the crime, the boom, boom, boom. And so I finally get somebody and they tell me, oh no, you know what that money was for? That money was to help offset the overtime hours for the police that were being spent as far as man hours for these crimes. I said, are you flipping kidding me?
That's great.
Are you kidding me?
I'm speechless with some of the
I
stuff.
don't
Some
even
of the stuff that comes out of City Hall
This is insane.
and Albany.
So again, what about the victims of these crimes? And it's not like the police can actually hold these criminals, so they get back out, they do it again, the police will tell you.
And to
know.
raise the age law has caused all these kids to be doing the crimes.
Look, well, you got to raise the age, you got the less is more. So basically, they're just telling people that no matter what crime you do, no matter how serious it is, either you won't go to jail at all, or if you do go to jail, you won't be in there that long.
Yeah, we'll call your mom, put it in family court, less is more, big is small, left is right, who knows?
So what's your take on that lawsuit? Where should that money have gone?
Oh, of course, back to the victims. And the other thing that nobody knows unless they've had their car stolen.
Yeah.
There's a tow bill, there's a storage fee.
Yeah.
And it's huge. I mean, it's like a $200 tow, and then the storage fee's like $20 a day.
Yeah.
Plus, my nephew had to rent a car for weeks, you gotta rent one if you don't have rental.
If you have to do your deductible on your car.
Yeah, there's a lot of out-of-pocket money that you have to pay, and, look at it, the budget's already in place for cops, okay? The overtime budget's already there, the money's already in place, okay? Them grabbing that money, it frees up them to now spend it on what they want.
Yeah, it's money grab.
Yeah.
Right, instead of giving it back to the victims and the people that have their cars stolen.
He got little earmarks with some stuff
I-
they really
you know,
wanna do something.
And I really hate to say it, but I would love to see a class action lawsuit against the city, the county, and the state for all of the crime that's going on and by the victims of the crime and just the general populace because of their lack of feeling of safety in your community. It's a complete disregard for public safety. People are scared to come out of their homes. People have lost their jobs because their cars and such have been stolen.
Wow.
People are now traumatized from being victims of muggings and stuff like that. This is unacceptable. Where is the lawsuit against the city and the state?
Where,
and the
yeah,
county?
where
That's
are
what I
the
want.
laws to just stop this? It's,
Well, you mean actually enforcing
Right?
laws that we have? No. We gotta make more laws to have less of them.
it's a paper.
Patricia James is the Attorney General, and she's too busy going after Trump and investigating all the
Right,
police shootings and
right,
stuff.
right.
They care about the
It's
citizens.
crazy because they passed these laws since 2020 under the guise of racial equity and racial equality and, but guess what? Guess what hurts the most? Every one of these laws that make crime easier hurts the people that are law-abiding citizens that are black and brown in this community, mainly in the city of Rochester. They're the ones who get shot in the head eating dinner, who get shot while they're sleeping, their mattress shot while they're sleeping, who get walking down the street over here in South Wedge, get a 12-year-old boy shot, killed, 1-year-old on Clinton Avenue coming home from daycare, shot in the head. I mean, it's insane.
Speaking of that 12-year-old, isn't that something, remember the outrage that lasted about a week or two?
If that,
And then more murders came in
Yeah.
2022, and now it's like, nobody talks about that.
Right.
No.
That unsolved 12-year-old.
they're still talking about Daniel Prue,
Prue.
but they won't talk about that 12-year-old. And I'm not saying that Daniel Prue was a good thing. I'm just saying, why are you still talking about him, writing articles about him, but this 12-year-old's name, I don't know it.
Here's
I don't know
the deal.
his name.
Here's the deal with that. So again, the PAB is hiring, okay, but
Oh, I
their
should
organization,
apply.
you should apply. I've applied multiple times and I'm about ready to
Yeah,
file.
they're not-
I'm about ready, no, seriously, serious. I'm about ready to file a discrimination lawsuit against them because I've applied for stuff that I'm more than qualified for,
Yes.
and they will not even call me in for
No.
a review.
No, they
So
won't because they know your name,
well,
they know
because
what you're,
exactly.
and that's illegal, obviously,
It is
but
very much
the
illegal.
bum
It's
Marcus hanging in the
discrimination.
bathroom, day one.
Listen, so this is part of the problem. The group consists specifically of a we hate the police culture,
Yes.
and their culture is toxic, and it needs to be investigated.
There's no
That's what we
diversity
do.
on thought at all.
That's what we do with everything nowadays. Investigate it, right? That's the whole
Create
concept.
a panel,
I mean,
create a panel.
Create a panel to investigate it. Use some of their money to create a panel. What do they call it? Nonpartisan.
Yeah, we'll create
You
a
know,
police
review-
accountability board, accountability board.
There you go.
There
I mean, maybe if they take 2 seconds to stop touching each other's num-yums
Easy.
and spending $50,000 on tables and chairs and
souped up,
stuff.
Explorers
Oh, the
that are
SUVs.
way nicer
Oh
than
my
the
God,
police.
don't get me started on the
You know,
SUVs.
it was kill, like, I went on their Facebook page the other day, and they had their first community, it was a Facebook Live, meeting on their, the riot policy, right?
Yeah.
And who led this? Will Cleveland, okay?
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
when Will Cleveland worked for the DNC, he was a reporter that dug it was a police, he did all the stories on police, corruption, police this, police
No
that,
matter what it was, yeah.
Police, the personnel records, the first thing he did was, when that law passed, is he came over to Gates, foiled my whole record, and so it was like 6 inches, I have 37 years on the job.
Yeah.
My freaking file's like 6 inches thick. He comes in, he pays the $120, he walks out to the parking lot, sets it on top of the hood of his car, takes a picture and tweets out, look what,
Wow,
that
look at
this
this.
is now available, I got the chief of police's back.
Right, he didn't even open it yet.
His
What do you think you're gonna
file.
find in there?
Right, well, that's the best part, there was nothing in there, other than a lot of.
A copy of Les Mis could be in there, I mean, who knows?
It was like a trophy, dude. My file was a trophy, and he got LeBron's, he got a bunch of
Right.
ours.
Well, but that's the shame of it all, isn't it?
It's-
Because who are they actually helping? It's not the community. They put together, they call it a police accountability board. Okay, I hear you, but you don't engage with the police on any
No.
type
They don't
of
even
the
work,
trainings that
really.
they do. They don't do any work. They
They
get
had
paid.
4 cases or something they looked into.
Man, they get paid tons of money to do absolutely nothing except play
They
with
do
their
get a lot of money
tallywhackers
too,
all
yeah.
day. Don't get me started. And this is what the real problem is a waste of taxpayer funds. All of that money could be going to after-school programs for the youth. Okay, you wanna talk about keeping the kids off the streets and out of crime? You know, you got that. We've got a crazy opioid crisis, which is being driven,
Ooh,
and
speaking of that, I
which
got
is
something
driving
to ask
even more of the
Chief.
crime, not to mention the illegal marijuana trade. Can we talk about that for a second? What are your ideas on the illegal marijuana trade?
They created this mess.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I had to ask you something first before you answer that, because I'm dying to ask you this for weeks. So, your policy in Gates, I remember, when you were chief,
Yes.
I don't know if it's your policy, but what you guys used to do, you would catch someone who was an obvious addict, you know, with petty larceny or whatever, and you would give them that opportunity to go get help. I remember
Yes,
you
we
driving
did
somewhere
that,
down,
right.
you know, down to Pennsylvania or whatever
We did.
yourself, but you used, like, you're gonna sit in jail against
That
them.
was the carrot.
Now, what do you do now? What do you do if because they know they're getting out? So where's the?
Look at drug court, ask, Judge Denalvo, I think it runs drug court, or drug court, it is totally empty because there's no more, he can't put you back in
Yes.
jail if
Yeah.
you don't follow the program.
Mhm.
And that was the whole premise.
Exactly.
Follow the program, you'll stay out of jail.
Spend a week
If
in jail.
not, you
Week.
go back,
Yep.
if you test positive, you're going back,
And they got them with a week here, week there, you know.
So this
Yeah.
is part of the big issue. There should definitely be, and I'm not for adding more laws, but there should definitely be a law in place where that if you are convicted of these many occurrences of drug issues, that you have to go to rehabilitation or you go
Yes.
to jail.
Even if it was
It's one at a time.
$100 bail, it would
Yeah.
it was enough to keep them in there,
Yes.
and
So
the
that they
threat
could
was
sober
there,
up
the threat was
somewhat.
there. So now what do you threaten them with? Listen, you're gonna get to go home, or you gotta go to rehab, which one? I mean, what are they gonna
Yes.
choose?
Right, and-
Look at that, I don't know what was going on in Rikers Island, that they all kept saying, when they passed all this stuff, it was always about downstate Rikers Island.
Yeah,
That
they had
stuff-
like 2 examples.
Look,
too.
none of that stuff was happening up here in Monroe County. We had pretrial release, we had all these programs, like, nobody in Monroe County sat in jail over a nickel baggie of marijuana.
No.
Even the shoplifting ones, even after about, a week, you couldn't come up with $100, you were kicked out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right, the judge was like,
I'm
yeah, go.
serious, they weren't, that was all big hoax, and they get on, it was all fear mongering, right? When
Yeah,
they
of
would
course.
speak, the legislators and tell us that one story on Rikers and the guy committed suicide, and one story.
One story,
Was
yep.
it,
It was like 1 or 2 stories. That
And
was
then
it.
they also lied, they said this is just gonna be for low-level misdemeanors,
Yeah.
non-violent, and then the list came out, and like, oh my God,
They're letting sex offenders
criminal
go
negligence,
now.
homicide, all these
It's
crazy
amazing.
crimes,
Well,
it was
but-
all a lie.
And where do they go? They go into the neighborhoods that are highest impacted
Sure.
by the crime
Yes,
to
right,
begin with.
exactly,
And these are the
Marcus.
people that
Where
they're
you find-
telling them that they so much care about.
Yup.
The working class, those in poverty, largely in Black and Latino communities, and these are the people suffering. So they're being sold a false bill of goods on policy.
Yep.
And this is what continues to happen. That's why I encourage, and anybody, if you're listening, if you're a Democrat, do you like the policies that are going on right now as far as between the economic stuff and between the criminal justice as far as the violent crimes that we're seeing on the street? Do you like that?
Find out if your representatives support these things.
If not, I encourage you, consider voting Republican. I'm not gonna tell you to sit here and just blindly vote for somebody, but consider it. Go look at the policies that are being put out by the people
Yeah.
that are running, because I'm telling you, these policies that we're seeing right now, these are a false bill of goods from everybody that's been in office that have supported these things. Don't get sold a false bill of goods
Mhm.
this year when you get ready for election. Make sure you do your research on the policies and really think through for yourself, because you gotta think for yourself what these policies will really be, not just the words that they're saying. Kind of like the border bill they're talking
Yeah,
about right now.
exactly.
That's a
Well, you and
bunch
I were
of
talking about that
malarkey.
last week,
Oh my
Marcus. Remember,
goodness.
we were saying how the most people in the city and everywhere actually that
Yeah,
are
yeah.
voting, they're just voting to what they're used to. See,
Yeah.
they say that
Yep.
they don't even know what
No,
their
no, no,
representative
no.
is about. They don't know that they'll sit there, with, for example, last time they'll sit there with Chief Singletary, and they'd say, yeah, I want tough on crime, we need more police, we need this, but then they go vote Democrat, they're like, that's what Democrats are for, right? It's like, no, they're not for that, you need to, like, but they're told that by somebody, and next thing you know, most people aren't into politics like, a lot of people, like us, like we are, most people,
Very few people.
they're headline readers, they're Facebook headline readers, and they're like, well, that's what I'm gonna do, but changes aren't gonna happen unless changes happen, so.
right? That's not, it's not gonna happen anymore. New York is long, the boat is long gone.
Yeah, and
I'm sorry, I'm just
people are
being
leaving that.
realistic. It's gone, it's not gonna happen. I mean, you look at 2022, right, we had a great slate of candidates.
Great slate.
Seven of us, I mean, Lee Zeldin, top notch, and Esposito as his, running mate.
Even locally, you,
know,
Singletary,
we had some
Marcus.
high quality,
I like that.
not one person won. You know, maybe I think differently if like one or two of us won, not one person won. I think it just shows you.
The numbers did get closer, to be honest, but I mean,
But the numbers, it's like you said, Brian, the number did get closer. People are seeing and they are coming around, but we're not getting the people active enough that are
Exactly, I agree
actually
with that.
caring. I need you guys this year, when the
Yes.
elections come up, do not sit at home.
No.
Get out and vote. You must vote. If you are concerned about the direction our country is going, and listen, let me tell you like this, forget the direction our country is going. What matters is local politics. We've got the state assembly.
that's what matters
up.
to your life the
We've
most,
got,
yes.
we've got the state assembly up, those are the people who make the laws and the budget for our state. And we've got the state senate up this year, again, people who make the laws and the appointments for the different positions, okay? And those two seats are so important that you should not be sitting at home on your couch this year. I'm gonna tell you, encourage your friend, 10 of your friends, hell, tell your enemies, get out and make sure that you go vote this year if you care about your community, if you care about your family, and if you care about the way that things are going where you live. Because we have to take action, and action starts not just at the ballot box, but it starts
Long before,
with
yeah.
you learning about the candidates and what their position, the position that they're running for is, because a lot of people don't know what the positions are. Did you find that true when you were running, that people didn't know what the state senate did?
They don't know who they don't know
Yeah.
who they are, let alone what's the difference between a senator and the county
Yeah.
executive. Nobody knows.
And your opponent, I mean, talk about changes in ideology. I mean, I don't know if he really believes the stuff he's saying, but I mean, all of a sudden, it's like, wait, that's not what you ran on, a few years back. Now all of a sudden things are changing. I'm getting, my parents are getting letters and like flyers in the mail, and I'm like, wait, he never said that before. But
Oh, I've seen so much, he's tough on crime now, but.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Public safety.
He still won't lock up the criminals that are actually doing the
No.
crime, and he said, I will not put any youth in jail.
not
Those are
going
the ones
back.
who are committing the crime.
Right.
Those are the ones beating the 60-year-old man to death. Those are the ones who robbed the old lady at the bus stop. Those are the ones who are out here stealing all of these cars, robbing all of these businesses.
Yeah.
You saw
Unfortunately, they're committing the most crimes.
so these are the people that need to be in jail, and I'm not a throw everybody in jail type of a person, but I am a throw somebody in jail when you're committing these type of offenses.
So it's not about throw everybody in jail. I hate when people say it. It's throw criminals in jail. I mean, it's like,
Period.
you don't get thrown in
It's
jail for
about
going to
criminals.
Wegmans. You get thrown in jail for going to Wegmans and robbing the place.
Well, but they're encouraging criminality, and that's where we are, but then they'll tell you when they're running that they're against this and they're pro-public safety, but you're the ones signing the policies, you're the ones when you're in office that have the power to change the policies, and you refuse to change the policies or even slightly modify them. Remember Eric Adams from
Yes.
the mayor of New York City?
Yeah.
He was like, hey, these laws are hurting us. Even Kathy tried to get something, and I can't even mess with the high priestess, Governor Kathy, at all. But even she tried to say, hey, maybe we should look at some of this stuff, and they told her,
They're
"Go
very
kick
progressive
rocks."
in that legislature.
Oh, my
They're
goodness.
like, no, absolutely
New
not.
York City.
Eric Adams is like, he's like, yeah, we gotta check this out. Next thing you know, they're investigating. FBI's kicking down his door
But
and
you-
stuff. But hey.
You know what? And this is what bothers me so much, okay? A lot of these people that are our local elected officials, they'll play in your face and they'll tell you one thing, but really it's another. And a large part of it is two things. One, they want to go along to get along, okay? And two, they're scared that they might lose their standing
Yep.
if they actually speak up. So that's a lack of a backbone, and these people are supposed to actually be your representatives, people. You've got to hold them accountable when they're in office. That is your job as a citizen. That is what you have to do. You need to be calling them, emailing them, setting up visits to make sure that they're addressing the concerns
Of course,
that you
yeah, they
have.
represent you. Chief, what about the judges? What have you found about the judges? Because a lot of people blame the judges for people being released so much. They said, you can hold some of these people, but the judges are like, why? What's going on? Is that true?
It's pretty bad when even some of your most liberal judges are like throwing their hands up.
Yeah.
Friends of mine that are liberal, and they're like, this is beyond us.
Yeah.
No, look at their hands really are tied, and it's sad.
That's what I thought.
Cause, it doesn't, what good are you as a judge if you have nothing in your toolbox, right?
If you have no discretion, why do they even
You
need
have
you?
no
Put a robot up
discretion.
there, right? I mean,
Right, just a kiosk,
right?
And,
Kiosk,
everything's a kiosk today, right?
Enter your crime.
Yes,
It tells you,
serious.
it drops out what you do, what you gotta do, an appearance ticket.
But, hey, one last thing, we were talking about Eric, Adams,
Yeah,
right?
yep.
So,
Yeah.
so here I was, it's 2022, it's my first time running, right? State office. It's like, it's literally like 2 weeks before the election, it's mid-October. And this just show you how dirty politics is, right? Senator Cooney had they threw a fundraiser for him.
Oh, yeah, you told me that, I remember.
Down in the tallest skyscraper
Yep.
down there, and I got photos, somebody sent me the photos of inside the room, and Eric Adams up at the podium with Cooney, and then I went online to check his financials later, and he went down there, they threw his fundraiser, and he put 70,000 in his kitty.
It was like, right up,
Why is my Rochester senator
right?
being bought out by New York City politicians? And then you wonder why they're so woke,
Yes,
He's not gonna.
And the voters don't get to see
They
that, they don't
don't.
hear it, they don't.
No, look at it, if it wasn't for me, was trying to put it out on Facebook, nobody would have known he was down there having this big.
No, you're right.
Fundraiser with Eric Adams, no less, right, in New York City.
Well,
I'm
you
like,
didn't get one? Eric didn't call you for one?
It's so dirty how this all works. Follow the money. I was always
Exactly.
told, follow the money and you'll see where
Exactly.
people rely on issues and who they support.
The politics and the money is terrible, but really what it is people generally have this concept that most humans are generally decent. And unfortunately, that's a very not true thing, has been my life experience. Especially when it comes to politicians, because it's that they care about themselves, but it's not so much that they care about themselves, it's they care about protecting their stature.
Correct.
And they will sacrifice you in order to keep their stature.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's a very serious issue.
Well, yeah, it's a whole new ballgame. When I said with, like, say, Congress, Congress people, they're coming in worth $30,000, and 4 years later, they're worth a massive amount. And you wonder when they're making $140K a year, which is good money, but it's not massive amounts of money. But I looked into it a little bit, and I find out a lot of these Congress people, they get into Congress with this ideology that people love. They vote them in, they work for 2, maybe get reelected, then they leave Congress to take this board position with this company and a board position here. Next thing you know,
That's Bob Duffy about
yeah,
that.
but then they're bought out. Then they're bought, and so they're now they owe something. Then they come back to Congress a couple years later, and they're running on different ideology slightly, and they get in and they do nothing of what they said. And it's like, and I looked at how many have done this, and I'm like, wow. So that's the move right there. You get some influence, then you sell that influence.
Yep.
Then you make a lot of money. Then you come back to Congress and you pay that money back in a different way.
Well, influence peddling, and then at the end of the day, you see many of these people that used to be politicians, then go out and they work as lobbyists
Yes.
to lobby
Yep.
the same people that they just worked with.
Correct.
And to me, and I say the worst case of seeing something similar to that is our Treasury Secretary right now, Janet Yellen. So the
Oh,
Treasury
God.
Secretary and the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is a private bank. They call it the Federal Reserve, but it's completely private interest. It's not owned by the federal government at all. But Janet Yellen used to be the president of the Federal Reserve.
Used to be.
Used to
Now
be.
she's-
No, but not even used to be, right? Like, she was just, before she was
Like
the
she went from
secretary
that to this.
to this. And they're supposed to be separate because that's where the money is. That's the difference in the money. But now we see how the policy is benefiting the Fed, which is collecting in all of these extra tax hikes and rate hikes as far as what you're paying in interest rates and stuff like that. And the economy is suffering. I saw some lady on the TV, she said, I went to go get a loaf of sourdough bread, 4 candy bars, and what'd she say? And two of the rolls, you know the rolls of rolls? Like the Pillsbury Dough ones in the can.
Those
Yeah,
blue
yeah,
cans
yeah.
that you pop open.
Yeah. And she said, and I went to the cashier, and the cashier was like $41.52. And she's like, I like it. She said, I said, get the heck out of here. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
but this is where we are
Just
right
told her
now.
not to pay for it.
This is right.
Yeah, other people don't.
This is right where we are right now. And again, it goes back to influence peddling. It goes back to policy that does not serve the people. And it goes back to the unfortunate lack of information that's given to the general public
Yeah.
about who does what.
Well, the people voted in positions of, that they're voted is a tiny fraction of the people in Washington. The people
Mhm.
that run Washington are the bureaucrats that are
Bureaucrats
lifelong
and
politicians, and they're just, and they move from one position
Yep.
to another cabinet position, to another. Then they work behind the scenes for a few years. Then they move, it's insane. When I was looking at that, it was like, I was looking at lines that went here, 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 here,
You
and
gotta,
I'm
you
like,
gotta, you
wow.
gotta really look at all of the people that worked in the Clinton administration and then went over
Right.
into the Bush administration, and then went over into the
Obama administration, and then they
went
stayed,
over
though.
into the Trump
Well,
administration.
the Obama one stayed working with Biden's whole thing,
Well, but
and
there
then
are
came back
people-
with him.
There are people that went through all of that.
Oh yeah, there is some, like
There
what's
is
it called, the one who adjusts the Fed, the one who adjusts the interest rate.
Yeah, that,
Oh.
yeah, it's so dirty, so dirty.
It is. So what are you doing, Chief? Are you doing any of the information gathering or talking to people about the conservative and Republican parties or anything like that? Are you getting out and about? Are you in any groups, advocacy groups, or anything like that?
You know, when Pat Riley took over as the Republican chairman,
Yep.
I'm one of his assistant chairmen.
Oh, sweet, okay.
In that position there, and I also run the Gates Committee over in the town of Gates there, so, yeah, you know what, these are all volunteer positions, by the way. None
What,
of
you're
this-
not making
I'm
$100,000 for it?
not making any kind of fees for any of this stuff, you know, and I don't sit on boards that pay me.
Right.
It's all volunteer stuff, but I still am very passionate, and the one thing that I did learn about that election is you gotta stay involved. What are you gonna do, sit down and let them get run over? Because that's
Yeah.
basically what we're doing. If we don't go out and vote, if we don't continue to push like you guys do on your show every
Yep.
week, then we might as well just surrender.
Well,
So
sometimes you
I'm not
feel like
going
you
down
gotta,
without a
like,
fight.
you can't, sometimes you feel like, oh man, it's never gonna work, but you gotta step up, you're right, like you use you as an example, like you keep going with it.
Because, no, if you do look at the numbers, okay, the Republicans are like 26% of the voters, but there are the blanks and independents do outnumber the Republicans. So,
Yeah.
and they're not all Democrats, they're not Democrats.
No.
So there is a hope, there are all those people that said, you know what, I'm done with both parties, I'm gonna register as a blank. We've gotta get them to see the light.
Yeah.
And come around on who exactly you're gonna vote for, and so,
Yeah.
there is a hope, there are a whole school of voters out there that
Yeah.
don't wanna commit.
You're seeing polls, like with the poll came out today, nationally, Latino voters are favoring Trump over Biden, or Republicans over them, and it's insane, because it's
Well, see,
never been
hold
like that in the past.
hold on now. I keep trying to enforce this to everybody and anybody that'll listen. Do not take people voting or being more likely to vote for Trump as meaning that they're gonna vote down ballot for Republicans.
Of course, you're absolutely right about
That
that.
is not what's gonna happen, and that really goes into what our messaging is and the way that that's being delivered. Like, Jim was just saying, we have a lot of people that are blanks and unaffiliated voters, but they care about what's going on.
Yes.
Sure.
And on top of that, I still have faith for many of the Democrat voters that they see that what's going on, and they're educated enough to
Yes,
know that
yeah.
they don't have to vote Democrat in the general election, that they can.
And they don't
vote
like what's
for
going on in their
Republicans.
party, so.
Yeah, if you don't like what's going on, I encourage you to vote Republican. You know, I mean,
Try being independent for a little while, and then, see both sides, and then maybe come on over.
Look at what the policies are that the people that are running are saying. And it's gonna be up to people like, that are Republicans,
Yeah.
to get out there with the right messaging, because this is about our whole nation and our identity as Americans, okay? This is about what we
Yeah.
wanna see as our future.
Are things working? That's what you gotta ask.
And things are not working
No.
now.
Right.
They're not working for our city, they're not working for the county, they're not working for
From
the
the
state.
town up, yeah, from the
From,
city up, you're
all
right.
the way up to the federal government. This is not working for the people. If you say you're gonna be about the people, I need to see it in policy. And we as Republicans or conservatives need to be driving that home, that we are about the people, no matter what party you're from, that you can have vote and confidence in a Republican.
You are a rep, when you get voted in, you're a representative for a certain district, no matter whether it's, a section of the city or a congressional district. So for you to go in there and just push your personal views, you gotta ask yourself, do I want this guy to go back to said position? Because if they came to you and told you all this stuff, and then they go in there and you look at their voting history, and they're not voting on things that you believe in, maybe you should vote for somebody else.
I've been on at one of the radio shows here, on another radio show that's on a very more so liberal, or I don't even know if that's a good progressive leftist,
yeah.
very left,
Progressive.
That's what they call it. Progress.
very left show,
Public funding.
and they tried to talk to me about my personal views, and I said, well, that's not very realistic, because it's not about my personal
Marcus's agenda. It's
Right?
the
Yeah,
people's
it's
agenda.
about what the people and what's gonna serve the people best. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not trying to push across what I want as my personal views. I wanna serve the community, I wanna serve the people, I wanna do what I can to improve their quality of life, because a rising tide raises all ships. And that's what we have to remember. Too many people get in office nowadays, and they forget about the people that got them there, which are the voters.
So they start focusing on little group too, because division's such a huge thing these days. Like, okay, well, I'm gonna vote policy for this group now. No, you wanna improve everyone's life. And that's what, if you write policy that benefits everybody, or at least the majority, you're gonna find that it benefits those groups as well. You don't have to single them out. And it's just insane. I mean, Chief, you've seen how the rise since 2015 or so, of just the separation of groups. They have groups for people with brown hair. If you have brown hair, here's your flag, this is your month, let's go. It's like nobody celebrates similarities anymore. It's all about how different you can be. And then they're gonna save you and somebody's against you. It's not true.
And this comes back to what we're supposed to be as a nation. We are the United States of America, okay?
Correct.
We are a nation that's supposed to be united, not divided. We're supposed to focus on what unites us, and that concept is that we are all American, that we want to serve the best interest of our nation, not of foreign nations,
No.
not of people that would divide us all up, but of the gross interest of our country, which honestly is not being addressed, because if it was, we would have less government, not more.
Exactly. It's growing in every aspect.
We would have less taxes, not more. You, as an individual citizen, should be able to keep the money that you earn in your pocket. It should not be given and squandered away to the government through excess taxes, like income tax, for instance. And these are things that everybody can get behind. Well, I don't want the government having more of my money. Of course you don't. Who does? And it's the small things that we can agree on, that government does way too much, and what they do, they're not actually good at. And this is something that we need to address together, but we need to come back to that common sense thought of national pride, national unity, and that has been gone because they want to divide us so much. Let me ask you a question, Jim. Being that you worked with the police for so many years, how have you seen the division grow between the public and law enforcement, which is a paramilitary unit, but they're a paramilitary unit made up of citizens of the citizenry?
Citizenry.
That's a word. It is a word.
Now.
It is a word. It's definitely a word. It's definitely a word. It means all of the people that are citizens.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry, what was the question?
So the question is what have you seen as far as division goes that's been fermented between the people that are on the force and the people that they're supposed to be protecting and serving?
Well, look, there's been a huge, take all the rhetoric and the politicians out of it, the cops and the citizens get along great.
Yep.
No, really,
I see that, you're right.
I can walk into anybody's church, anyone's community center, and we get along fine. It's the TV, you turn the TV on, and when you got, the mayor, and you got elected officials, you know, bashing.
And these
the
advocacy
police.
groups I see too, they, who are looking for, you know, money and stuff, but,
And it does have an impact on people and what they think and what they start to believe.
yeah.
And they're being told that on TV.
Of course, and you see a lot of the people who are in these, you know, so-called protests and these rallies, you see a lot of them, they're in other protests for other reasons as well, and
Right.
it seems like they're very influenced, they're easily influenced, and the people behind the scenes know that. So they go towards them with this stuff, and you know, police are bad, and they hammer it enough home that eventually they believe it. So, you know, what happens is that they get out there with that Ashley girl, the one who runs Hate the Police, whatever that group is, and
FTP.
yes, and it's sad because I don't think for a second, she's not a dumb person. I don't think she believes what she's saying even, but she,
No.
you know, she wants the grants. She wants the, you know, she wants the funding.
But this is the problem. Like you said, these people are so easily swayed. And a large portion of that is because they feel emptiness inside of themselves. And that emptiness is something that can only be filled by the presence of the Lord. Okay? I encourage all of them to go out, get a Bible, read the Bible, okay? And become more aligned with the teachings of Jesus Christ, because that is what's missing in our nation. Once they started to take out the 10 Commandments, they were like, well, why don't anybody have any morals anymore? You know, and the greatest thing about Christianity, and I know this, we don't focus on Christianity largely on the show, but the greatest thing about Christianity is our Father wants a personal relationship with you as an individual. You don't have to go through somebody else to get to the Lord. And that is something that is so impactful and so powerful. That's that emptiness that they feel. That's why they're so easily
Yeah,
manipulated.
absolutely. Well, do you see a lot of 50-year-old married couples that have been married for 30 years at these protests? No, of course not, because, you know, you see the young, you're easily influenced people. You're right, that are empty
Well,
inside and stuff.
but they also make it so that you don't know yourself. You don't know who you are.
Mhm.
If you're a boy, you could be a girl. Maybe you were born in the wrong body. You know, I mean, so if you don't have that sense of self, that self-awareness of identifying as who you are, you don't have to like yourself as who you are. You can work, change who
Yeah.
you are as an individual. But when you start making those body modifications and stuff,
Yeah.
a lot of these people who have gone into that are empty, and they want to feel like they feel aligned with a group. So they do that because that's whatever the fashion is now.
Correct, yeah, and it used to be, you know, groups in school to be cool bought the same hat, or bought the same,
Right.
oh, that
Yeah.
guy's cool, I like his jeans, I'm gonna buy
Yeah.
jeans. But now it's like, oh, I like his hormones, so I'm gonna take those. It's like, no, I mean, it's crazy, and like my nephew is 15, I believe, and the stuff he tells me blows my mind and everything, but
Kitty with the boxes.
right? Well, I want to we have another guest here now. I want to introduce him real quick. Ryan Murphy. He's from the Facebook page. He actually is the founder of the Facebook page, Town of Greece Uncovered, correct?
Correct.
And I want you to start by just introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into you know, a four-way discussion here.
Well, moved to Greece, in 2020, construction worker, married, couple of kids, and, you know, I started this because I kept getting hit over and over with an assessment increase, and,
Oh, yeah.
I was actually home at the time when we got it, because my, wife had actually fallen down the stairs, she was hurt, and I was taking time off from work to help her out.
Yeah.
And, you know, I started looking into it to do comps, for my house, and I look into our elected officials. And I found it interesting that, you know, over the course of the last 15 years, my house had gone up 30%. The person who does the assessments for the town had gone up 0.5%.
Oh, that's interesting.
Was it a similar property?
Give or take 5 years on the age, same style, bedrooms, just 30% larger.
Oh,
Oh,
just
it-
30% larger.
Yeah, and assessed for $9,000 more than they wanted to get me for.
Wow.
Town supervisor, 5,000, or 5% increase over same 15 years, and the deputy supervisor had gone down.
Oh, wow, that's nice.
don't know how that works, don't know if,
Some negative movement there.
yeah, any new property that goes down over the last
Right.
15.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
So how'd you start exposing this or digging into it or talking about it?
I started digging into it, and exposing it on Nextdoor Neighbor app.
Okay.
Okay.
Um, Nextdoor, for the first week or so, you know, I was getting a lot of positive feedback.
Yeah.
Then the town contacted Nextdoor and I started getting shut down.
Oh, I'm picked off of other
Well,
ones,
that
so.
doesn't sound, that doesn't sound like censorship at all.
No, I actually foiled, communications between the town and Nextdoor.
Smart,
And
yeah.
got a email back between the two of them.
Mhm.
Email address is obviously blacked out, but, you know.
It's not hard to tell, right?
No, it's not hard to
You're like,
tell.
nobody else would write that, so.
Yeah. And they did have their town's email address on there, you know, so after, I think, as of December, I was on my 10th suspension from Nextdoor.
Oh, wow. I'm still on one.
They must have not liked what you had to say.
Oh, God, no.
Were you getting any other, negative, threats or anything like that?
I got 2 cease and desist letters from the town. First one was an email from info@greece.gov. And then I got a hard copy signed by the town attorney. I don't have any legal background, but when a letter from
Yeah.
an attorney
Mhm.
ends with, will take, action legal or otherwise,
Yeah, right?
I kind of call BS on it.
Yeah. So let me understand this concept. So you were talking about real serious issues that were affecting people in the town of Greece.
Correct.
And the town wanted you not to talk about that so much that they were willing to put out a official cease and desist letter to you, threatening you with legal action. Is that correct?
Correct.
Better yet, you were talking about factual
Mhm.
numbers that existed, that could be seen by anyone if,
Yeah.
if they wanted to.
I was
And,
putting the links
yes, there you
from
go.
the
I mean,
Monroe County tax website.
How
And
dare you put links, right?
So when did you start the actual Facebook page?
I started the Facebook page in, I think, late June.
Mhm.
And as I kept digging into the town officials,
Yeah.
just found more and more stuff that they really, really didn't want made public.
I see.
But, you can't get away with, I mean, there's always gonna be a little bit of corruption, a little bit of
Yeah.
pay for play, and
Yeah.
that is what it is.
There's benefits, certain benefits that you expect someone maybe to get here and there, but not to that extent.
We always, as Americans, expect some type of that in our
Right.
government, but the level,
Yeah,
the
and
level. Yeah.
if I had gone up 30% and they had gone up 25%.
Yeah, whatever.
I
Why waste your time, right?
Yeah, perk of the job. But, as I look into it, there's things like not filing financial disclosures, not putting, loans you take out.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And again, this is, verifiable information that I put the loans out. It's like, here's the loans from the UCC filings.
Yeah.
They're not on your disclosures. 'Cause
Right.
Wow.
I got those from the, another FOIL request. It's just over and over and over again that it comes out.
So are you getting a positive feedback from the town, from the people in the town?
Yeah,
How many members you got right now on the
we
Facebook page?
just hit 6,700.
So you are getting it, yeah, so,
Okay.
and you're getting nothing from Facebook itself saying, stop talking about this or anything like that?
No.
It's a private page, correct?
Yeah, it's a private group. I only had one, I think, comment or post or something, comment taken down by Facebook.
Yeah.
Someone said something stupid and, that is what it is, but I've been very, very careful as far as, I have to approve posts.
Mhm.
That's a good idea.
And, my wife and I keep a pretty close eye on it, if things get out of hand or people start acting stupid, and take down comments or,
What else are you doing besides the Facebook page to get awareness out or bring this to the forefront of people?
We've sent information to different news outlets, different, officials, done a couple of different, this is my third radio
Oh, good.
spot. You know, the legal community, will go with hesitant when it comes to,
Yeah.
looking into, Bill Rowland especially, town of Greece in general, which is unfortunate because there's a lot of things going on, legal cases.
Yep.
You know, even things that I've brought up and put the evidence out, you know, chief can say probably would at least garner some
Suspicion.
suspicion.
A little investigation.
Yeah, a little
you know.
investigation.
Smoke.
We can put a panel together and look at it. Hey, I was actually brought to my attention today by someone else when I said you were coming on, and they said, ask him about this, and I don't know if it's true or not. They said, the Barnard Fire Department gets 6% of the taxes when all the other fire departments only get 2% of it. And I'm like, well, ask him. I don't know if there's anything to it, but I mean.
There's a group actually started yesterday. It's, Greece, New York Fire Districts, because, I don't have the time or energy to go into,
Yeah.
Right.
you know, the schools or the fire districts, and so, you know, people have been asking me to look into those for a long time. I don't know much about them, I don't look into them. I know from the town budget, the fire districts in general is about, I think it's a 12 or 14% of the taxes. The actual breakdown, I don't know off the top of my head, I couldn't give you accurate information, so.
Are there a lot of fires in Greece?
I know I've started a couple with the town.
We're talking about literal fire.
Yeah. You know, I have heard that a lot of people are dissatisfied with the number of fire districts across the area. And I guess that would definitely be worth more citizens getting involved. They have meetings for those things, right?
Yes. All the districts, or the different parts of the, town government, school, fire, obviously the town board itself, and the, you know, zoning board and everything, they have their own meetings. It's people getting involved.
Yes, and a lot of people talk a good game, but when it comes to actually getting off their couch at 6 o'clock at night to go to a meeting, they don't wanna do it.
This is true.
It's just, I mean, it is what it is. People have jobs, and I'm not bashing them because I mean, people are busy, they have families and all that, but sometimes someone like yourself steps up and actually does something. And have you had any direct conversations with Bill or anybody that's involved with the assessments?
Actually, the funny thing is, when I first noticed my assessments, first started looking into it, I emailed him directly. And I
Good
asked
idea,
him
yeah.
specifically, you know, about this. Email comes back that, you know, I have nothing to do with this. Well, in that cease and desist letter, he says that, you know, the board, Bill Rowland, has told the assessor to stay at 87% because, you know, of the market, which, okay, that's cool, but now you're telling me that you specifically told the assessor to do something.
Yes, you gave him an order, so
Yeah.
you do it something.
Exactly. But to your point, you know, people not getting involved, the town counts on that.
Of course, yes, yep.
You know,
The government in general does.
people should just think about this. You know, I've obviously been in contact with a lot of people that got their assessments done. So, done a lot of research on it. Average assessment this year went up around 20 grand, give or take. Now, if you think about a third of the properties in Greece go up 20 grand, that's about $160 million in assessed value increase, which is about $9.5 million in tax revenue for the town,
Yes.
just the town hall.
Yes.
That has nothing to do with school.
No school, yeah, we're not talking about
anything
school,
like
yeah.
that. You know, do you honestly think that they care about the couple hundred people that argue it and take a couple grand off their,
No.
what they raised them?
Probably not, no.
God, no.
Here you go, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, they're, you know, people not caring costs the citizens thousands of dollars a year.
Yeah.
You know, because again, that doesn't include school, that
Right.
doesn't include fire, that doesn't include county, you know, and it makes the town millions.
Now, you said you have children, correct?
Correct.
Have they received any issues at school or anything like that, harassment or anything like that?
We homeschool, or well, my wife homeschools our kids. They get these library boxes from the Greece Library.
Mhm.
When I brought up the new construction project at the library, they did get a couple of dirty looks. But, no, they haven't been bothered that much.
So, yeah, so that's been
That's
that
fine.
bad. You don't have to look under your car before you
Yeah.
start it and stuff.
I did get one of those little detectors to check.
Yeah,
for
right.
their tracking devices.
Listen, you might have to get one of those bug sweeps for the house too.
Yeah, I got cameras.
Yeah, there you go, there you go, there you go.
Chopper over your house for a while, Goodfellas style, you know, it's like. Well, where are you at in this fight? Let's put it that way. Where do you feel you're at, and what the progress you're making is? Is it stagnant? Is it moving? Is it fair? Is it good? Is it
How can people help you?
that too?
As far as helping, it's getting involved, asking questions
Mhm.
themselves. You know, send an email to your representative, send an email to the town, send an email to Sandra Dorley, asking, are you looking into these things? You know, come to the board meetings.
Could they contact you to get more information on this?
Yeah,
Well,
You know.
if you wanna give your contact information, that'd be great.
they can, private message me through the Facebook group. You know, I've got the page, my page, and also the group, so they can contact me through that. Anyone that, you know, contacts me, if they have information or they wanna talk kinda separately, I take phone calls all the time, you know.
I know you'd rather talk over the phone than.
Yeah.
We went through that, so.
And just briefly, for anybody who doesn't know who Sandra Dorley is, she is our district attorney up here. in the
And
county.
I think she's done a pretty good job in general, so hopefully she'll listen, you know, and, no, we'll see, I guess. So again, where are you at the fight? How close are you to having something being done about this?
Last time a DA showed up in my house, they told me that they were investigating the assessments. Now, whether they are or not is a different story, but I was told by a district attorney that they were.
Okay, well, that's a positive. I know an ex-police chief that might help you out a little bit. What do you think about this, Jim? How do you, I
Look,
mean,
you don't know, the good news is, this is going on everywhere, right? I just watched, you know, the city's reassessment. It's finally waking people up to look at, hey, what the heck is my assessment? What is?
well,
this
I'm gonna
guy-
check it out, Henrietta, I swear, I thought about it yesterday, I'm like,
People are
I'm checking this out.
finally looking at their tax bill. Like, I gotta admit, when I had a mortgage, dude,
Right?
it came out of my escrow. I couldn't tell you what I paid in town taxes, county taxes.
It was right in my
minor-
payment, it was right in my monthly
They
payment, so.
did it, I don't know, but now that people are starting, and that's what's getting the fire departments in trouble, right? Cause
Yeah.
for years, nobody was paying attention. Now, like, I'll give you an example, in town of Gates, okay, we went to a paid department about 20 years ago. And, the more you hire, then the less volunteers are gonna be, because there's really.
Right.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so, my bill came, my whole town tax, my highway department, my library, the whole shebang, cops, I don't know, it was like $960, okay? That was my town tax. My fire department tax, it was like $20 cheaper, $940, okay? It's that close.
Wait,
Right?
just for your.
It was like 95% of it.
No, I'm telling, that's
Good
how
God.
it's gotten, the fire department is about to exceed the town, it's out of control.
You guys got it on fire.
And we're not bashing firefighters by
No,
any
we're
means,
not,
they're
we're
a
not.
huge necessity in
We
the
need
community,
them, we
but.
want them, but at some point, there's gotta be reasonableness in the equation. That's all we're saying is there's gotta be reasonableness.
And I'm willing to bet a lot of the firefighters don't even know this is going on, you know, they're there doing their job, you know, it's like, but
Well,
it's,
I'd like to know how much their pay is in
Oh, it's,
consider,
you can see it.
it's, well, I mean, in consideration of what the actual payments are to the fire tax.
But is there salary similar to the police departments, the police officers?
Yeah, but let me put it to you this way, okay? I'm just, it's all online, by the way, okay? You can
Yeah, I figured, I
see
figured
through
I'd ask you.
Well, let me just put it to you this way, okay? We are approaching, and I'm not to be a jerk, but the day it happens, I am gonna put this all on Facebook. We are approaching our first $200,000 fireman in the town of Gates.
Wow.
Now, I can tell you there are no cops in Gates that made 200,000, okay?
Oh,
Yeah.
my.
And we even have this new special detail going on at Wegmans over there.
Yeah.
So everybody has to go work this extra time, but I'm telling you right now, we're getting close to our first $200,000 fireman. And I'm not, again, like
No,
you said, Brian, we're not here slamming firemen.
Of course not.
But at some point, you know what the median income is in the town of Gate? We are a blue collar
Yep.
community. We don't have lawyers and doctors living in our town. We are a blue collar
Yep.
community, and that the median income is like 57,000, okay?
Yeah.
And so when you got a public servant coming to somebody's house who's making double what you're putting an X on your box.
Of course.
No, don't you get it? At some point, people are gonna say, and now it's happening, because people are finally looking at their bills, and they're
Right.
like, holy crap, I didn't realize my fire, and I don't just, the fire department's a big issue right now.
Yep.
People have finally looked at it and said, oh my God, my fire department's costing me $1,000.
Yeah, I lived in Gates for
Right.
years, years and years, and it was, you're right, it's a blue collar community.
And it's catching up to people, and now, but the people are finally paying attention, their assessments and taxes.
And that's a good
Here's a
thing,
question,
that's a good thing.
here's a
but-
question on that, Jim. Do you think that most of the just general people that are firefighters even really know or are aware?
No,
They probably don't even know what's going on with the fire district taxes and
No,
stuff,
most of
right?
these, look, at these young kids are getting, like my son just became a policeman,
Yeah.
he's so happy to be, he doesn't know the first
They
thing
don't know
about the
anything,
finances.
Right.
right,
He
yeah.
has no idea what dad did as a chief. Most of these kids coming out, they don't know, they're just glad they have a job,
Yeah,
they have no idea what's going on behind the scenes with what's happening, and again, yeah, you can have a fire department, they just had one in Gates, okay, I think 120 people showed up to vote, out of 29,000 residents, 120 came to vote, you know? And unlike the school district, where you can actually vote down the budget, you can't vote the budget down at the fire department.
yeah.
So what's the vote for?
Commissioners, so and if you really, the only way to affect the budget is you gotta get a majority of your people that think like you on that commission.
Right,
The only way
right.
you're gonna be able to get conservative values, you gotta get commissioner, you gotta get the majority, right? You can't just.
Apparently you only need 130 people to.
Well, and they actually pride themselves on that. I mean, so a week before the election, right, it's in December, I was going on their Facebook page, I was going on their fire department's website, nowhere does they say, oh, our election's coming up.
They don't want it, yeah.
You can't find it, they don't want you to know, they
course.
don't, that's how it runs.
That's what Ryan was kind of saying,
It's
you know,
not right.
it's the lack of movement is good for those who,
Right.
you know, are in power, and better, even better for those who are in power and doing something wrong.
You know, I've heard that it's been kicked around that we should go to a county-wide fire department. So I don't know what's up with that, but I think that if somebody was talking about stuff like that, they might need to check underneath it.
Well, I wanna get back to Ryan real quick, because we don't have that much time left.
And real quick, you're listening to The Divide on WRFZ 106.3 Rochester Free Radio.
And that's the great Marcus C. Williams,
We like the voice.
the voiceover. So Ryan, we, how long have you lived in Greece, first of all?
November of 2020 we moved.
Okay, November 2020. Now, are you, have your neighbors, people in your direct community that are like, you know, right around your area, are they buying in on this, or are they kind of like, keep me out of it?
They're interested. One of them actually has been, you know, keep me out of it. He's a firefighter.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I got my time in, I gotta be careful.
Understandable, yeah.
But, you know, they're interested, you know, which, you know, is nice. None of my neighbors have been busting my balls or giving me a hard time about it.
Mhm.
Going off of what we were just talking about with the, you know, different departments in Texas.
Yeah.
You know, people have been saying a lot, especially recently, about the fire. The school is ridiculous.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Town of Greece this year, their budget was 65 million approximately.
Mm.
Wow.
Greece School District is 290 million. It'll be 300 million this year.
Wow.
Do you know what that breaks down per student?
They've got 9,800 students approximately, so, you know, you're.
Nobody's equal, no, I can tell you that, I do know, I
Yeah.
did this a couple of years, nobody is equal to the city of Rochester. The city of Rochester.
Yeah, they get
We-
crazy
that's
mad.
why-
We talk about
Yeah,
that.
we talk about this a
that,
lot.
yeah.
Yeah, we talk
talk
about this.
Not one suburban district is even close,
Well,
so it just shows you how, we got a big problem in the city school
And
district.
the education just,
listen,
and it's
so-
horrible. It's
So
horrible.
I saw the Republican delegation was complaining because apparently they want more money for the school districts. And I said, unfortunately, I'm not able to relate here in the city of Rochester. I'm trying to get them to have less money.
Now, per capita,
because
aren't we-
it's-
Rochester's like,
Number two.
Yeah, number two in the country.
Two or one
Yeah,
in
crazy.
the country. And it's insane because we're second from the bottom as far as proficiency
it's horrible.
and rates
Yeah.
go
Horrible.
there.
Across the board, I mean, Greece is the same thing, they're like freaking 590
Really?
something.
You would
out of-
expect them to be way up there with that budget. I
No.
mean,
They're way towards the bottom.
Yeah.
wow.
And what does this say about the children's future, where they're going to end up being able to get jobs? How are they gonna end up being able to support themselves or their families? How could you even have a family? We were just talking about that $40 bill for the food. How can you afford to live if you're not getting a quality education to actually go out and be a productive member?
Well, Ryan, another thing, have you seen, since you started speaking up, when do the next assessments come out? Put it that way.
May,
So,
theoretically.
so are you kind of interested in seeing if they maybe quietly made some changes to, maybe theirs go up a little bit and yours come down a little bit or something?
From what I heard, the assessor's office put out something asking to confirm the addresses of town employees and officials.
Aha.
I don't know how, they're going to do it. They are stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
And that's where
because-
you want them to be
How do you-
honest.
I mean, how do you, I know they wanna kill me, they wanna raise double my.
Facts, for sure, but-
Double my
More
assessment,
figurative.
or probably a little both, but, I mean, how do you raise my assessment without raising yours 30% or
Yeah.
more?
Right.
Pay their fair share.
Yeah.
The Biden quote.
How do you do it? So,
No, absolutely, and you know what, if it comes May, and boom, all of a sudden things are looking more equal, do you stay on this, or do you say, okay, well, you know what, it might not have been the route I wanted to take to get this solution, but you know what, it's becoming what I want, and what's fair, and what the townspeople want, so would you leave it alone a little bit then?
I think there's so much other stuff that I've found
Yep.
that at this point, it's just something that's gonna stay.
Do you wanna fire into some of those things, or you wanna keep those for another time?
Well, I mean, right now, the big one is the Flynn and Ladder Road project.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, we talked about that for a minute.
Yeah, and, all these construction projects, and that's where the money from the town is going. There are been 6 or 7 construction projects in the last 7 years that, according to the town, they have not taken on any debt. If all those projects were on budget,
Mhm.
$53 million?
Yeah.
How does the town come out and pocket with
Mhm.
$53 million in cash?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you said it's been cash, right?
That's what they said. Now, I got the financials that they send to Albany every year. In 2020, they had $4 million in cash.
Mhm.
2021, it was 8, and in 2022, it was 6. Where does 53 come from?
Yeah.
That math doesn't seem to be mathing.
No, all of a sudden in 2021, what was it, $73 million showed up in a custodial account,
Mhm, mhm.
which is account, from my understanding what I've read,
Mm.
is specifically for funding things outside of the town. It can't go to town
Really?
government things. Now, it came in, the 73 came in through extra fire district taxes and went out on other custodial activities, contractual.
Interesting.
Then in 2022, another 32 million came in, under bail receipts.
Wow.
We don't
That's a lot of people.
take bail, you
Yeah,
know, there's no
right.
such
It's
thing
not
as
even-
bail anymore.
Bail doesn't even exist, yeah, right.
Where, please, this math,
Yeah.
So is that where you're at? Are you trying to connect the dots with this stuff right now?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when I was driving in,
Which I
I,
doubt connect, but.
you know, one of the first things I heard when you guys kinda came into focus is
Yeah.
follow the money.
Yeah.
And it was,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
I know the
exactly
chief
what
loves
I'm
to
doing.
say that. He always says
It's
that.
what I'm doing, but like,
Mhm.
all these projects, everything that's going on, the math just doesn't add up.
Sounds like a lot of black budget stuff going on
Yeah.
over there, huh?
So,
Man.
you know, again, there's all these things that just basic logic tells you that
Yeah.
these things deserve an investigation by proper authorities, by the people that can do something
Right.
about it. I mean, I can
Yeah.
talk about it and point it out, but
Yeah.
I
So
can't do anything.
Here's what we did in Gates, a group of citizens were really upset with the fire thing. And politician to help submit the letter to the comptroller's office, and sure enough, they picked it up in 2 months.
Yeah.
The comptroller's
Good,
office.
good.
And they were here in August, spent a month over there going through all the books, and any day the report's coming out. That's really your best recourse. Now, when those comptroller reports come out, a lot of times they're scathing, but unfortunately, there's no punishment behind it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
They're telling you need to stop doing this, but if you don't, there's no recourse, you know what I mean?
So it's empty.
It's
Yeah.
the
Empty
embarrassment, the public humiliation when those reports
Mhm.
come out, but we're sitting here waiting with bated breath to see what ours is gonna say. And I'll be honest with you, if it comes out saying that everything's on the up and up, I'll be the first to apologize.
Absolutely,
Let's
absolutely,
say-
yeah, I mean, why
Good
wouldn't
job.
you, yeah?
You
Hey,
know?
you get questions, but that's what it is.
But look at, my finder hasn't filed a tax cap in like 6 or 7 years, right? They violate the tax cap, it's like, it's a suggestion, not a procedure. It's a suggestion, not a tax cap.
Wish all things were like that, right?
But I tell you what, if the comptroller says that's okay, then I'll apologize.
So be it.
I will, because okay, you're doing it right then, I
What-
guess it's okay to do it.
Again, real quick, we're here with, James Vanbrederode, retired Gates Police Chief, and, Ryan Murphy, the founder of Town of Greece Uncovered. And, I wanted, Ryan, you to give your contact information out again, so anybody listening can, if they wanna get involved, can contact you and talk to you, and you're the man with the information, so.
Facebook page, like you said, it's Town of Greece Uncovered. You can join a group, private message me. You know, I'm on it pretty much all the time. You know, I respond very quickly. If you wanna talk outside of that, I have a lot of people that, you know, have relationships, are used to be employed by the town, have family members that are, so, you know, communications are off the site or separate,
Yeah.
because I don't wanna put anyone at risk.
Good, and
Yeah.
that's a good
Yeah,
thing for
yeah.
people to hear, because a lot of people don't, you know, that, and rightfully so, they don't want their livelihood or their kids, or, you know, future, anything, even if it's not gonna be, you know, possibly put at risk, and it's just a thought that would keep them otherwise from even coming, you know, talking to you, so that's good
Right.
that you said that. Now, we gotta keep having you on the show, so, you know, maybe every month or a couple months, you gotta come and keep updating us. I know the chief will be here, because
Yeah, I'd love to keep
he's
coming.
been on.
So where can people find you, Jim?
I have a very.
At the local bar.
Yeah, I won't drive my take-home car there. But
Ooh.
We're not talking about that. Hey, that's a little provocative.
But anyway, yeah, I have my own Facebook page, Jim Vanbrederode, yeah, and you can get right on there, and message me, and people, I know it's funny, you know, I'm no longer an official, a public official, but people to this day will inbox me with a problem, and I
Yeah.
will get them the answer, you know, and find out their.
My parents always say, because they always said, you know, anytime we had an issue and we went to, you know, Chief Vanbrederode, he always personally got back to us when he was the chief. He
Yeah.
said, and he still is very, you know, respond, when I write to you, boom, within 10 minutes I get a response. You know, and that's rare these days for anybody to do it, especially, you know, someone who was in the position you're in and now who retired and doesn't, some people don't want to be bothered with
Got
it at
both
all.
fingers for that. Retire.
Yep.
I think we've all experienced, we've all been on the other end when we've tried to talk
Yeah.
and
Oh,
to
yeah.
somebody,
Yeah.
they don't answer,
Yeah.
and it's so rude when somebody doesn't
That's
answer.
what got me into
Respect
politics.
And
That's a
that
story
makes
for
you-
next
It
week.
is a respect thing, you're right,
That's
right.
a story for next week, but that's
Anyway,
exactly
yeah,
that.
yeah,
yeah.
that makes you say, I'll never do that to somebody.
You
because
see, it
it's not right.
usually responds within 7 weeks. I'm like, all right, I'm
7
not getting a
weeks.
response.
It's better than the border, I tell you, your hearings in 10
Right?
years.
Yeah, in 38 or something like that. It's crazy.
Your immigration.
Well, we gotta get wrapping things up here. You guys, awesome guests today. I'm
Thank
so
you guys
so
for
happy to
coming
have
on.
you.
We're glad
Thank
that we
you
could
for
have
having
you
us.
today.
Absolutely.
You know,
We'll have both you guys on again for sure. We'll keep, you know, talk to Marcus or I. We'll keep you booked in the future so we can
Yeah.
continue to find out, you know, the process of this, what's going on. And feel free to, you know, text one of us or, you know, call into the show and give us updates as they happen in real time too.
And then we'll be happy to discuss on what's going on, because it's important to keep the people in the loop of what's happening.
Correct.
Exactly.
Excellent.
Yeah, so, hey, you guys, thank you for listening to the show.
The
You're
show.
listening to I know, right? You're listening to The Divide on WRFZ 106.3 Rochester Free Radio. I'm Marcus C. Williams. You can check me out on Twitter, Marcus, the number 4, ROC, or you can find me on Facebook, Marcus C. Williams. And hey, reach out. Tell me if you like what we're doing, or if you don't like what we're doing, let me know.
Yeah, I get some hate mail sometimes, but.
Hey, I always tell people, if you want to hate me, send me a check though.
And like I say every week, text me, please, if you wanna be a guest on the show, if you have something you wanna tell me, good or bad, I don't care. If you wanna just tell me you don't like the way I look on camera, you know, send me a text, 585-802-0757, or, come to the Divide Facebook page and message me there. Hope to, you know, get more guests as it goes on. We're gonna have guests once a week, or once a month, we've decided.
Once a month.
Probably the first Monday of every month, and, you know, hopefully we'll get ones as exciting as you guys, because that was great, you know, very informative. I was kind of sitting there listening, I'm like, this is great
We'll
today.
try to mix and match some stuff for you, give you a cornucopia of
Yeah.
different types of views and thoughts.
Next month we'll have the assessor on.
Would you like to defend these?
Yeah. Or well, better yet, we'll have them both on at once.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, again, I appreciate it. This is The Divide, Marcus C. Williams and Brian McKenzie, and see you next week.
All right, see you guys later. You be blessed, be well, and remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up.